So, as promised, this is my review of Thundercats Mumm-Ra. And before we take a look at the figure, let's take a look at the packaging. Now, the one thing I like about this packaging is the fact that because you can very easily slide out the clear plastic inner tray, you can certainly put the figure back inside of the tray as well as the accessories and then slide it into the actual packaging, and you can have an in-package display of your figure if that's something you would like to do. So I like that option, and the packaging certainly makes it easier to do that. Now on to the figure itself. One thing I'd like to mention is the fact you can see here this red tattered cape, if you will. This actually comes separate and detached from the figure, so you have to plug that in. You can see where it goes right there. And same thing with these two strips of cloth, one coming from the side of his head here and the other one coming out the other side of the head. And obviously they're not real cloth, they're actually molded pieces of hard plastic, but you plug them into the side of the head, and that's the way that they come packaged, is separate from the actual figure. Now, to answer the question of can you remove the helmet, well, yes you can. And that's what it looks like without the helmet, and you can see where the various pieces of plastic attach. So we'll leave that on, and we can just take a closer look at the figure. We'll do a little 360 action here. Now, one thing I don't like to see on figures, especially action figures, is screw holes or the screws. I really don't like that. And granted, they're on the back, so you're going to very rarely see them, but I wish they could have somehow covered those or done something. And I'm not sure what these are, but they look like they're covers for something. I tried to pry it off with a hobby knife, really couldn't get anywhere with it. I was starting to a little bit damage the plastic, so I wanted to not do that. So if anybody knows what these are underneath here, I'd be curious to find out. But here we go. Now, as far as articulation goes, well, first off, I'd like to comment on the head sculpt. The head looks very nice, and as does the helmet. Articulation of the head, well, it can go side to side, and as you can see, a little bit up, as you can see there. I don't really want to articulate the head too far because I'm afraid these will come unplugged. But anyhow, you do have articulation at the neck, and the arms can go all the way around. You can see here. And they can go up like so via that ball type of joint there. Swivel at the bicep, a single hinge joint at the elbow, a nice swivel at the forearm, and of course you have the actual hands on a ball jointed wrist. So the actual hand itself can go 360, as you can see there. And there is no upper body ab articulation, but you do have waist articulation. And as you might imagine, the skirt is made of a kind of a hard plastic. So the legs can go, a bit forward like that, and I guess out to the side a little bit. And you can see the joint there. You can see there's a swivel at the thigh, a double bend at the knee, swivel at the lower leg, kind of at the top of the armor there, and a single joint at the ankle. Now, I must say that when I first got this figure outside of packaging, there was an issue with loose joints. And I watched another review, and that person had the same problem. So I'm kind of leaning towards the opinion, or I guess the opinion that this may be a issue with more than just my particular figure. So that's something to watch out for. I mean, these are relatively loose, and most of the time I'd rather err on the side of being a more stiffer joint than a looser joint. Anyhow, as far as accessories, let's go ahead and look at those real quickly. You get interchangeable hands. These are the hands that can hold the weapons. And speaking of weapons, you do have this well, I'm not sure if this is a weapon, but it's some kind of armor or weaponry, but it does look nice. And you can see it does have an attachment point there. Then you have the, I believe this is the sword of Plundar. Well, actually it's not the sword right now, it actually is the dagger. And these are the two pieces of the sword, and they actually combine like so, which is the really nice weapon. You can see it snaps into place really nicely. A very shiny metallic silver, which is really nice. So, as far as this accessory goes, I'm not sure whether it's a weapon or a shield. It attaches to the forearm, as you can see, like there, right there. Now, as far as how the weapon's attached, well, let's go ahead and take the right hand here. For the actual dagger, you kind of have to wedge it between the thumb and the fingers and just kind of force it in there. This thumb and fingers are really stiff plastic. I mean, there's not much play in the plastic there, so it's a little bit unfortunate, because I know I just don't like to have to force this type of weapon in there, especially because it's got this nice silver paint. But yeah, you can see how that works. And as far as attaching the actual sword, what you got to do is take the this part of the actual sword and come down from the bottom here, as you can see, and go up like that, and get to about that position there, and then attach the top part of the weapon. So this needs to be reversed like that. That snaps into place, and you can probably move the hands up so it's more in the middle like that, as you can see there. So there you go. And let's see if we can attach the hand here. There we go. So obviously I'm a big fan of the sword. That's really, really cool. And one of the main reasons I bought this figure is because of the sword. And you know, Mumm-Ra looks good as far as a villain goes. So there you go. So as far as a size comparison, well, he'll fit really nicely next to like a DC Direct or a DC Universe Classics figure and a Marvel Legends figure, so you can kind of get an idea of the size right there. So, what do I think about the figure? Well, I like it. I think it goes well with some of my other non-Thundercat villains. I don't plan on buying any more Thundercat figures except for the Panthro figure. I'm just not that big of a fan of Thundercats. I do, however, like the look of Mumm-Ra, and I think he's, you know, generic enough looking that, you know, he'll fit in next to my other villains on my action figure shelf. And the only other figure I might get is Panthro, and I saw the Lion-O figure, I think, in a review, and it just didn't look good. It had too many screws showing, and that was really one of the downsides for me. These figures in this scale are around $14 to $15, so they're not cheap. If I see a sale on these, yes, I'll probably get Lion-O, but for sure I'm going to get Panthro, but unless they come down in price, I probably will only get Panthro and not anything else other than Panthro and Mumm-Ra. Alright, well thanks for watching, and this has been a review of the Thundercats Mumm-Ra figure. Of course, this is the largest Mumm-Ra figure. There are some other ones that are more on the, I think, the 4-inch scale. But I decided to pick this up because, you know, Mumm-Ra just looks very cool, very villainy, very menacing. And he has a very, very cool sword, as you can see. And this is sort of the opposite of the sword of Thundera. This is the sword of Plundar. Alright, well thanks for watching.